and welcome to a bonus Coffee with Kilroy. If you did not get enough coffee earlier today when I was covering the Omaha beach landings as part of my ongoing D-Day week, then you've come to the right place for some more coffee and for more D-Day experience. As I continue in my coverage of D-Day, and this is D-Day. This is August 6th, the anniversary of D-Day that took, where the landings commenced on in 1944. And today I have a little bit of a special edition in covering the D-Day experience from invasion to liberation of Paris. This was a book that I picked up, or basically kind of an experience, right? I mean, this has some recreated papers and documents that all surround the D-Day invasion. And I picked this up at, I don't know if it was some discount bookstore, either it was on the bargain of Barnes and Noble, or there was a local bookstore in my town where I lived for several years that I would pick up books from time to time once they went on clearance. And so this D-Day experience here, as you can see here by Richard Holmes, is basically meant to be just that. This is a recreation of documents and with a little bit of a narrative of the entire event, but kind of having you have an experience or a tactile feel of some of the events that took place and some of the documents and other related items, that how they kind of rolled up into that event. So with that, let's have a sip of coffee and let's take a look inside this book. So it's basically kind of a cover here, so we get out there, and very nice thick cover for that there. Let's go out a little bit so you can see a little bit better here of what we are talking about. And so this is basically just kind of a way to contain the materials. You've got a book here, and then you've got this binder that or satchel that has all the separate documents in here. So as you go through this book here, and that's kind of a nice little back cover there. As you go through this book here, it's going to have references to different items, and then you go into the satchel and pull out the different items. So here's all the contents. There's a lot of maps in here. Here's an introduction. The D-Day is a landmark in history here. Here is the Normandy campaign. It's kind of a nice little summary of it there, and a map. And then it starts off at the planning stage and walks you through it. Now, this isn't a very detailed book. I'm positive there are better books that kind of relate the events and all the stuff leading up to D-Day and during D-Day. But this is really kind of just a nice little overview and more of a kind of a niche type offering. Here's your chain of command for the Allies and then for the Germans. You got their defenses, deception and intelligence, resistance, how they factored in, Pegasus Bridge. So this really just goes through, and it's basically just 2 pages for each one of these little topics here. So it's a very high level overview of that topic, but it does give you some basic understanding of it. Here's Utah Beach, which we covered yesterday in the Five for Fighting series. Point du Hoc, where the Rangers had to scale a sheer cliff. So you got a little bit more on that one there. Here's Omaha Beach, which I covered earlier today on the Five for Fighting series. Gold Beach. Juneau. sword. This was famous stand there. As I said, this is not going into, a lot of detail. It's basically giving you some little insets and a little bit of commentary to give you an understanding of the event. And this goes beyond the just the landings themselves and goes into, as you can see here later on in the campaign. So you have little date calendars up here, which is kind of neat. So this just gives you, again, it's a very high-level, surfacey type book. Oh, the Follies Pocket, played that scenario. One of the few scenarios we actually completed when back in the day playing the Longest Day, the Avalon Hill game, which is probably the only monster game I really ever played. But we played the Follies Pocket scenario and actually finished it, and I did miserably as the Allies. So there you have it. This talks about a little bit of the items, and so let's look at some of the items. So that's just it's just a very much an overview type book to give you a feel for some of the stuff going on. I do not recommend this as a deep read or a detailed account. That's not what this is for. This is more gimmickry because you get all these little bits that come in this satchel here. Which let's move this off so we can get some of these out here. And there's quite a few in here. So you got a nice little satchel here. And then you have a lot of these that are just replications or replicas or what have you of different things that relate to the whole experience. But you have some documents in here. That's kind of interesting. To kind of just page through this and take a look at what's going on. Here's your top secret. If we're talking about the recon for the beaches, it's just a little bit of a cover there, and then you've got some images for what the for German fortifications look like. So again, this is more of a, just kind of a touch and feel type of look. Now this is a huge map here. I'm not going to fold out the whole thing, but it is a map of the area during that time period, and it's a relatively extensive map here. So it gives you some ideas and stuff. So that's kind of cool. I've had that folded out a couple of times. Some notes here. And I think that this is all pulled from real documents and the like from the event, and there's some explanation in this book on where some of these are pulled from. So again, this looks like a report with some handwritten notes on it. So just, and it is kind of tied to some of the stuff in here, but this is fold out here. This looks like a land. This is a night map. This is a paratroop map here. It's kind of cool. And it's got some stains on the back there. Interesting. Just said there's quite a few maps in here and just little notes and stuff. I thought this would be an interesting remembrance of D-Day. Here's an actual newspaper, and it's dual-sided there. Stars and Stripes. Here's a message book, and it's a little bit thicker paper, kind of hard to see that there, but so you get some messages here. So you can kind of, if you really wanted to spend time pouring through all these little documents here, you could really try to recreate or step in the shoes of some of the participants. Little message book here. Then we have look at this book here. Oh, this is like a diary. Here's like a handwritten day-to-day notebook here. Maybe some blood stains there. Some little book there. Some Canadian memos. Handwritten. There's a secret document here. This is it's one-sided, but it's several pages. Looks like that might be from Montgomery there. I need to look into that. Ooh, this is a bridge here. This is a pontoon bridge. Looks like, okay. Handbook for mulberry tugs. Okay, interesting. Some interesting stuff there. I don't know if these were like pamphlets or flyers. Yeah, see, there's a number up here, so you have a reference where you can look back in this book, and it'll tell you about what the significance of this, so you can tie these back into the book. So these were like, I think, flyers that the Germans might have dropped or handed out to try to lower morale. There's a little notebook here. Kind of hard to read the writing of some of these. You got some dates here. So I did a day-by-day thing there. So it's got a little number up there so you can track it where it's at. Here's another map. These maps aren't as big. It's kind of interesting. Cool little maps there. And we've got a Royal Air Force pilot's flying logbook. Cool there. And this is a German, number 22. Looks like his passport or national papers. Then we have an aircraft recognition guide from the War Department. Yeah, shoot at that, not at that. And you can shoot at that too. There you go. So that's some of the example of some of the documents that came in here. As I said, this is tied or references back in the book that we looked through here. If you wanted to kind of see where things, took place here. Trying figure out where the references are in some of these things here. So I don't know. I thought I'd share this today. I thought this was kind of an interesting little tidbit to kind of go over what what's what, and what give you a little bit of a feel for D-Day from the eyes and documents of the participants in here. I think that might be the reference, might be in the very back here. Yeah, here's all the page. It tells you the item, like page 35, item 10, a D-Day diary. So this is where you can kind of go through and tie all these documents back into where they're covered in the book, or where they're related to in the book. So you can kind of have a D-Day experience by doing that. So anyway, that's what I decided to cover today on my bonus coffee with Kilroy, as you are drinking whatever you so desire. And wanted to thank you for stopping by. Always appreciate that. And the best way I know you stop by is drop me a comment. What do you think about this kind of book, and trying to recreate some of the experiences through tactile documents and papers? Love to know your thoughts on that, or on D-Day in general, what it meant. Also, if you want to talk about good games on D-Day, I'm planning on doing somewhat of a deep dive later this week, going over some of my D-Day games and talking about them a little bit. That's kind of the big reveal later this week. And I might even have some more surprises, but some of it is not in my hands yet. And if it's not, then it's not, but I'm still dedicating this week to D-Day, primarily through the 5 for Fighting series postcard games, which rounds out my coverage of postcard games. So I'll have to find something else to talk about on Coffee with Kilroy. Maybe I'll find some more of these kind of books. If you like them. If you don't, let me know. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. Here is to remembering all those who sacrificed so much on this day in 1944. Take care. Thanks for watching.